Hi guys, in this video I'll be showing you logic behind registration, login and email verification system. So we'll be looking at how this system works, the logic behind how registration system work, how data are being collected and how these data are being stored in the database. Now first of all, let's go and look into the registration system. Now our registration system always comes with a form that asks the user for input. Now look at this form. You can see our first form here. We have a place for full name. We have also an input for email, an input for password, and input for password confirmation. Now, how this system works is that once you enter your information in this form, the next thing that happens is that this information will be validated to check if it corresponds to the pattern in which it is required. Just like the email. The emails must come with a string followed by @ then another string dot any extension. So if the information the user enters is correct according to how we need this information to be entered, then the next thing we do is that we send this information to server once the user clicks create account. Now once the user clicks on this button, this information is being sent to server. But there's another thing that is very important. First of all, you have to know that we are treating this system based on how the web system works, just like Facebook, just like Twitter, Instagram, how their registration, login and email verification works. So this is our case study. So once this form is verified on the client, that is the web browser, we send this information to server. Now we receive these informations on our server and we have to perform another verification, another validation, that is to check on server again if this email, if this information are valid. The reason why we have to validate this on server is for security purposes. Should there be anywhere the spammers have to bypass the browser verification aspect and send information to server, we're able to validate this information on our server again before we store on our database. So once this information are valid on the clients and sent to the server, now we validate this information again on the server. Once it is valid, the next thing we do is we store them on our database. So now once this information is valid, see what our database will look like. So now we have a database structure on server after extraction. So look at this database table. Now first of all, let me talk about database table. Now before you create a registration system, a system whereby you collect information from users, you need a database on your server where you store this information. So each database, mainly one of the most widely used database is the relational database, and one of the popular relational database management system is our MySQL. So let me say we are using a MySQL system to store the information of the user, and we create a table where we are going to be storing all the users' information, the users that will be registering on our system. Now we have a column. Now the name of this table is the users table. Now we have the name, different columns inside this database table. We have the column for full name, where we are going to be storing the full name of each user that registered. We have the column for email, we have the column for password. Now we have another 2 additional columns apart from the information we collect from the form, which is the column for verification status. Now this is very important for our email verification. That is why we include this column. So you create this column on your server. Once a user registered, you will store 0. You will make the verification status to be 0, which means this user has registered but has not verified his or her account. Now we have another column that's that is labeled verification number. Now, remember, whenever you register on a system like Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, or some other systems you may name, you realize that they will send a verification number, an email verification number, then to your email. Whether you are using a phone number, they will send it to your phone. Now, before they send those numbers to your phone or to your email, they have a column where they store those numbers, and this column corresponds to has the same row with all your information you entered on that system. So as you can see now, we have the Chijioke Francis, we have the email, we have the password according to how we enter this information here. You can see here we have our full name as Chijioke Francis, the email. Then when we create this account, this information are stored in our database the same way we entered them in the registration form. So now this information are registered on the server, and we have a verification status 0, which means Francis has registered in this system but has not verified his account. Now we have the verification number, which will be sent to francis@gmail.com. So now, for Francis to be able to verify his account on this system, he needs to receive this verification number, which is 2222. So now, this is how our database looks once you register. Now you can see other columns in this database. Many other people already registered. Some has verified their account. You can see that the first three after Francis has already verified the account. The last is yet to verify his account. So now Francis has registered on this system successfully after his information has been validated both on the client and the server, now stored on this database table. The next thing is to verify this account. So let's see what next. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is how the email verification system works. Remember, we are done with how the registration system works. When you enter your information, this information is validated and stored in the database. Now, and remember, there is a verification number that is stored on the same row as all the information you entered in your form. You can see one row contains Chijioke Francis as name, contains email as francis@gmail.com, then contain the password and the verification number. So now when you are presented with a verification form where you have to enter those 4-digit number that have been sent to your email, see what happens now. For all the system to be able to verify that you are the person that owns the email you registered with, they present you with a form. Since the verification number is 4 digits, they present you with a form with 4 inputs. So you have to enter your verification number there. So you can see I've entered my 4-digit number on this form. Once you enter this 4-digit number and click on your button confirm, see what the logic happens now. See what happens now. They collect these 4 digits. Now they will go to the database, but before you are presented with this form, they store your email somewhere on your browser, so that once you enter your 4-digit number, they will collect your email as well, then send your email and the 4-digit number to the server. Now the server will use that email and your 4-digit number to run a check on the database. So the server will ask the database, check for me, is there anywhere on the database where this email francis@gmail.com exists and where the verification number is 2222. Now, if the verification number you enter corresponds with your email address, now they will update this verification status to 1. So once it is valid and the verification number is correct, see what happens next. Now the server database will be updated. You can see now, after the email verification, your verification status will be updated from 0 to 1. So which means now Francis has validated his account. So now, and the structure of your database now looks like this. Now Francis is a valid user and a verified user of this system. So what next is, once you verify your account, you can now log in with your email and password. Note, if you did not verify your account, you cannot log in, because whenever you try to log in into this system, they will check if your email match with your password and if you has verified your account, which if your verification status is 1. If your verification status is not 1, you cannot log into this account. That is why it is necessary to verify your email. So the next thing we have here is how login system work. Just like the other previous systems, how login system work is they will present you with a form where you enter your email and password. Now, when you enter email and password, we check the database. What happens is that this email and password is being sent to the server. The server runs a check. We'll collect your email and collect your password. Now go to the database and check if there is a corresponding email with the same password and database. And it will also check if your verification status is equals to 1, which means you have already verified your account. So once the email is there and your password is corresponds to your email and your verification status is 1, then you are a valid user. Then you will be logged into the system. So once everything you enter is correct, you'll be redirected to the next page, whether the home page, maybe your profile, anywhere, depends on how the main system is working. So the next thing we have is, once user is successfully logged in, the system redirects to the main page. So that is just the logic behind registering a user in a system, verifying the user email, and then allowing the user to log in. You see that this logic are very simple. So if you want to create any of this system, I believe you will be able to do it yourself without having to ask anybody for help on how to use the code to do this. Just what you need to do is just to understand the logic, and you'll be able to build any of this system on your own. So keep coding. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.